What's been your story? What's the backstory? What's the journey, the joys, the tribulations?
Hi, I'm Meher Mirchandani. I'm a mother with a story, a business leader with a vision, and an author whose work focuses on transforming lives and relationships through a better understanding of self love. Today, I had the opportunity to speak with Srikanth from Inspire Someone Today.
Hey, my dear listeners, welcome back. This is your channel of inspiration, creating ripples of inspiration. This is Inspire Someone Today. I came across this quote and got intrigued that I got to connect with this speaker whom we are having today as our guest. The quote goes something like this: Success is something you attract by the person you become. It is your dedication to consistently grow yourself that will yield you the life you desire. And I was wondering who is behind this particular quote, and that led me to this wonderful person, human being, who is a multifaceted individual, wears multiple hats, a business leader, entrepreneur, author, coach, wife, daughter, a devoted mother of twin daughters. With great pleasure, I welcome Meher Mirchandani on Inspire Someone Today. Meher, what an opportunity to kind of connect with you and my listeners here.
Thank you. Thank you, Srikanth, for having me. I'm grateful and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Same here, Meher. I think even before we start in, given the fact that you have so many hats that you are wearing, it's only fair to ask what's Meher's backstory? How did the journey begin? What's the joys, tribulations, and lessons in this journey?
So, tribulations, I think, is the most important. I feel without pain, there is no growth. And it's how we take pain that makes us look at all our challenges as opportunities. So, of course, I will share my story, which I have also shared in my book, Come Alive, Don't Just Exist. Please do have a look at it and do read and give me feedback for me to be better as an author. It's my first ever book. So I was born in the year 1981 to amazing, wonderful, and loving parents. I have seen the beautiful life from a very luxurious and a privileged perspective. I have been grateful to be privileged uh, all my life, actually. But like they say, with privilege comes responsibility. So up until the year of when I was about 22 years old, I was obviously the princess of my father's castle, and I was living a beautiful life. Everything was as per my expectations. Everything was very, very, I would say, comfortable. As soon as I got married, I think I moved outside my comfort zone for the first time. And that's when I realized the opportunity of growth. While I was, I think 22 was very young for me. I felt very challenged because maybe I was not prepared for the real world. I was supposed to be the mother. I was supposed to be a woman now, but I expected everything as I would in my father's house. So that those expectations led me to a heartbreak, and I couldn't cope with my life because life has changed as it was a natural transition to get married and move into a family. And obviously, it's like a new life. In Hinduism, they say when you get married, it's a new life. So life was beautiful always, but it's all, I think, all the pain is in our head. It's the negative self-talk. It is our expectations, our attachments, our it's everything that we perceive life to be that we want to work out in our life. But life is not that way. We always come across challenges, or we come across new aspects that will challenge us to be a better version of ourselves. Yes. So I married to the man I loved in a beautiful, fancy wedding. It was the wedding of the year. It was a beautiful, beautiful, I would say, a big fat Indian wedding. And amazing and very, I would say, spiritual family. And life was exactly how I wanted it to be. But it was my expectations that led me down. Like the woman has a role, after she gets married, a man has a role. And while my husband was doing his role, I was doing my role. But initially, at such a young age, it was, I think, my expectations and the life that I was leading didn't match. And that led me to pain in my head. Because of that pain, I started a lot of negative self talk, a lot of expectations being let down, and a lot of disappointments. I went to the lowest point in my life. It was everything internal, nothing external, actually. Um, and internally I started feeling a lot of pain, a lot of challenges, and I didn't know how to get out of it, though I have a spiritual master. And they always proposed to us to meditate. I was still not meditating. I also started learning theta healing, but I didn't practice it. Like they said, anything you learn, anything, for you to become better, you need to practice something. You need to acquire skills, but you need to practice it. So I had all the knowledge, but I was not aware. I had all the tools, the skills, but I was not practicing it. So it was, I think, the delay of realization and transformations from what transformation was from my side. So I lived in a lot of pain for about 13 years, 13 early years of my life. And finally, I think through meeting the right people, I joined this business entrepreneurship group called the Entrepreneurs Organization. I did a lot of learning, more learning. And learning gave me the awareness to understand that why we are here. It gave me and showed me new perspectives to life. Conversations with people made me realize that I can also lead a beautiful life if I change the way I look at things. So it was about the shift that had to happen for me to become aware and lead the life I was meant to lead. As soon as I joined the entrepreneurs organization, I got super involved in all kinds of learning. I took leadership roles, and that's what shifted my awareness and made me aware of my actual purpose to incarnate, which is that I embark on now. I am a leader, I am a mother, I am a coach, I am an author, I am a daughter, and all the various roles that I have. And I must fulfill those roles with utmost responsibility and utmost love. But you cannot do that until you don't love yourself. So that was the breakthrough that came from the learnings, that I am not loving myself for who I am. So that big breakthrough actually helped me become more aware and 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 I started work on myself by connecting to myself. I started looking inwards. I started seeing what I was not seeing before. Because the relationship that you have with yourself determines the quality of every other relationship in life. The more you connect to yourself, the better your relationship will be with yourself. It's exactly like the courtship with another. The more you time you spend with someone else, the more you know them. You get better at knowing them, and then you can address their likes, their needs, their wants, their preferences, and have a beautiful relationship with them. It's exactly with ourselves. The more time we spend with ourselves in meditation, learning, reading, also exercising, the more we think about ourselves selflessly for our growth, the more connected we will be to ourselves. And that's what will give us the power to love ourselves selflessly, unconditionally, for our growth and evolution. And that's our purpose here on this earth. It's first to love ourselves, and then you will be able to give that love to everyone in your life. And I also believe to be a compassionate leader, I lead my family business, which is real estate. It's called the Mandarin Logistics Fund. I'm a director on that. And I also have an asset management company called the Palmon Group here in the UAE. I have a lot of people who look up to me to be inspired, I would like to say. And I can only inspire them when I am inspired, when I am working on myself to be the best version of myself every single day. So, this was the big breakthrough, and that's how I shifted on my journey to become who I was meant to be.
Now you touch upon quite a lot of points, very intriguing points. One element that you mentioned, that when you came out of your comfort zone after getting married into your husband's house, there was one change that you went through. Then when you kind of look deep inside and you reflected on that, then there was another breakthrough, that particular incident happened. So for these breakthrough events to happen, one of my earlier guests did mention about this whole process that he practices, which is called as self-inquiry. Just going deep inside and checking on who you are, what to do, what's the purpose, things like that. So is this a method to this whole element of, okay, let me go deep inside and figure out who I am? Or does it also kind of give one an image that, okay, you're way too selfish because you're concentrating only on yourself?
So, I agree with your friend, and I believe that we have to first look inside to be able to help anybody. You cannot give from an empty glass. Only when your heart and soul will be
Hmm.
full can you actually give unconditionally to everybody around you, be it your parents, your children, your team members, your husband, your father, whoever it is. So for us to work on ourselves is imperative. If you don't work on yourself, you will never be able to give that kind of love, empathy, compassion to your family members or to your team at work.
So, Meher, f- for listeners listening to this particular conversation, what does work on yourself mean? What are, say, three or four things that people can do to start working on
Absolutely.
themselves?
Number one is meditation. If you don't meet yourself every single day in the morning like you meet other people, set a time to meet the most important person in your life every single day and see the magic. When you
Hmm.
meet people, you know them, you want to work with them. It's exactly the same. Set an alarm for meeting yourself every day in the morning. That's number one. Number two is reading, learning. Reading and learning actually help us reprogram our subconscious programming. So that helps us view life and instances in a new perspective. Again, when we know better, we can do better. So that helps us boost our confidence. It helps us understand how people operate. It validates our thoughts. It gives us new information. So, learning and reading something early in the morning, besides your career, it could be a self development book, it could be a spiritual book, it could be something besides your career book, I would say. So, that will help you elevate your energy and also elevate your mindset. Then it is journaling, writing the first thoughts on paper in the morning will help you release anything you have. You can journal forgiveness, you can journal gratitude, you can journal anything you want, anything that comes in your mind. You can go freestyle or you can buy any kind of journals from what is available in the market and journal, because that will help you release and also set the intention for the day. What would you like to achieve? And it will also act as affirmations for you. So, journaling is extremely important. That's three. Number four is exercise. When you exercise, you release those hormones, those dopamine, and you increase your level of happiness. So it's as simple as that. If you can do the four things, even 5 minutes a day, if you can start, give yourself 20 minutes a day, you will see a huge shift in your life.
There you go, listeners. That's a 20-minute drug for you every morning.
Absolutely.
Meditate, read, journal, and exercise.
Yes.
Wonderful. Meher, you do talk about lot many things around self-love and the power of letting go, the positive self-talk and affirmations. While lot of theory, lot of material around all of these elements do speak about the benefits coming out of it. What has been your own experience of it? Why should one go down this path of self-talk, self-positive talk and affirmations? And what have you seen as a resultant of somebody practicing these?
So I practice all four of them every single day. And what I shared just before is my experience. I was a new me. I was transformed after I started doing these practices every single day. So, my personal experience is that it gives me a lot of peace in the morning. It puts me in the right frame of mind. It sets the tone for the day. And then, you focus on what is important to you. Everybody behaves around you. I mean, we live in a world where we have so many people and so many energies, be it in the house, be it in the at work. We have so many people, so many energies, so many belief systems, and we walk with them in this beautiful life. But if we are not centered and we are not aligned to the seat of our soul, we will be swayed one way or the other by people's comments, people's attitudes, people's behaviors, people's energy. So we don't want that. And in order to stay away or let those
Mhm.
things don't affect you, you must work on yourself. This is what I call working on yourself. Because you want to be your own person. You want to be completing your work here on this earth. You want to be enjoying your life. If you let other people's comments or energies or behaviors affect you, then you will not be able to achieve anything.
In lot many ways, this is creating insulation around you to keep yourself away from lot of the negativity, lot of the cynicism around you,
Correct.
and help you to kind of thrive forward. Right? And you did speak about journaling. I think we all have heard about journaling techniques. Maybe if there are some elements of it, what does good journaling look like? How can one practice this journaling tradition?
So I in my book Come Alive Don't Just Exist. It's a book on self-love where I share my mission, my story, my also the five-phase process of self-love. There are five phases to self-love and I share that in this book. So I have a journal. I have a 90-day journal behind the book, which is an activity of course which you have to fill in. And that is a self-love journal. So there are three things grateful for, three things you want to achieve, three things you learned, and what made you alive. So so there's always some I think some starters in most of the journals, and it could be a gratitude journal, it could be a forgiveness journal. I mean, I would say start with whatever suits you, what you are comfortable with, and then you can embark on the journey of journaling, even freestyle journaling. Just take a nice book and keep writing in the morning. Do what suits you, but start. You have to start somewhere. And of course, there is a downloadable version on my uh, website, which is mehermirchandani.com. Please feel free to download. There's a 7-day challenge, there's a 30-day challenge. Download it and message me. I'll be more than happy to assist you how to journal.
That's a great gesture. We'll make sure that we'll carry all of these links in the show notes. We'll talk about Meher, the author now. You have been a first time author, wonderful book, Come Alive Again. What prompted you to take down this path of being an author, and what has been the experience so far? And I believe you're on your journey to write book number two.
Correct. So the path of an author was actually something I'd never imagined in my life. I never imagined to be an author.
Mhm.
But I had stories to tell. After I transformed, I saw magic. And when I saw magic, I couldn't keep it to myself. I needed to share it with the world. I wanted to share with people so they can learn and they can also benefit from my pain. They can benefit from my evolution and they can benefit from my story. So the book is a pure act of sharing knowledge and sharing experience. I've done it in the most authentic way. I've been very open and naked in my book to be able to share my personal, basically, what goes on in my head, what's going on in my heart and soul. I've shared very authentically, just so people can benefit from it. And of course, that led me to a beautiful journey because writing is so beautiful. Like when you express, when you're able to express your heart and soul, it's just such a beautiful process. And that itself was another transformation for me. I didn't even know I could write until I actually wrote. So once I had done that and published it, I was like, oh my God, I want to say more. And then I was like, okay, I want to talk more on the leadership side, that what does love and how does love play a role in my leadership? Or how does love play a role in any leadership, and how can it impact your organization and your team members? And this is what I write in my second book. And of course, I practice it every single day at work. So this is what I share now in my second book.
So love in leadership.
Yes.
That's interesting. Great. So we have been talking to Meher, the entrepreneur, Meher, the author. We'll do a side track. We'll get Meher to answer us in the rapid fire round. So Meher, we have this segment called as the power of three round, wherein I will throw at you a series of questions. For each of these, you got to give me three sharp answers. If you are ready, we'll get started with the power of three round.
Let's do it.
Here we go, listeners, with Meher Mirchandani on Inspire Someone today, and we are stepping into the power of three round. Meher, three word of wisdom that you will share with your older self.
Love yourself, focus on yourself, prioritize yourself if you want to create an impact in the world.
That's a good start. Three practices that are very unique to Meher.
I don't know if it's unique, but I always meditate. I never leave the home without meditation. I never leave my house without my meditation. Um, Reading is something I do every single day. And my prayers.
Nice. Three best insights that you have received so far from your teachers, mentors, coaches. Best insights.
So I think I learned what I have said in the quote that you started with. Success is something you attract by the person you become. I have learned it from someone, but I'm not sure who. And that's the biggest learning for me in my life. The second is the relationship that you have with yourself determines the quality of every other relationship in life. So those are the two most important takeaways of my life, and I will never forget them. So it's with my readings of these beautiful books that people have written out there that I've learned this. So I'm grateful to all the books, all the authors I have, of course, read, and my spiritual master as well.
Great. So if there is no limitation and if you were to invite anybody in this world for a lunch or dinner with you, who would those three individuals be and why, Meher?
I'm very intrigued by Mother Teresa, like her nature of giving selflessly. Whatever I have read about her, I would have loved to meet her and understand that, how does she operate with giving so much? How much love does she have for herself? I would love to ask her that question of the relation between the self and giving others.
Yeah. Anybody else? Three individuals.
I think she is, of course, one of the ones I look up to. I love the story of Oprah Winfrey. I would love to, I mean, the way she interviews
Mhm.
people, I would love to interview her, the success story, because she herself is a success story from the painful background that she came to the fame that she has received. It's again a beautiful journey.
True. Right. And three book or podcast recommendations for all of our listeners?
So the three books are always on my bedside: Solve for Happy, The Miracle Morning, and The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Actually, I have more, but these three are really awesome. The Power of Now is amazing as
Wonderful.
well.
Hmm. Well, you mentioned something that's caught my attention, which is enhancing relationship with self. I think that's where we always pivot back to when something goes wrong. We get into our shell or we kind of react to it in a different way based on our own construct. What practices would you recommend for people to start loving with themselves? What practices they can adapt to enhance the relationship their own self?
So you cannot love somebody you don't know. Knowing yourself is number one in order to fall in love with yourself. So you have to know yourself. For that you have to spend time with yourself. So you can either sit in silence, you can do guided meditations, you can do any kind of meditations, you can do chanting. There are lots of ways to connect with yourself in the meditation style. And then of course it is like going for walks with yourself where you have a lot of reflection and introspection, because without reflection and introspection you will not be able to grow and get past things that have bothered you or hurt you, or all the negativity that goes on in your mind. So time for reflection and introspection is absolutely important. And so these are the two things. I also believe that having a vision for life, having a vision for all areas of your life is very, very important, because without vision there is no direction, and without direction there is no growth. So it's very important to have a vision board, or at least write down what you want in life. Otherwise, you will be living this life aimlessly. And, at the end of your life, you will regret things. To live a regret free life, to live a life with no regrets, and to live a fulfilled life, to be happy, you must work on yourself. We come back to the same point. And working on yourself is
Yes.
connecting to yourself, reflection, meditating, learning, growing yourself. Because your growth does not have to stop when you stop learning at school. We are in a earth school. And to be in this earth school, we need to keep learning. And when life throws challenges at us, if we are not prepared, we will definitely feel defeated. And in order
So
not to feel defeated, we must be prepared. We must be learning. That's how the earth school works.
the syllabus for our school, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Once you kind of
Yes,
know all the pieces of it, bring it together, then you will see beautiful things right in front of you.
absolutely.
And I'm sure lot many people listening to this would have this question right on top of their head is how do you juggle these many roles in a given 24-hour day?
So it's about prioritization and planning. So I would say two P's to be able to manage your day and life well: prioritization and planning. Prioritize yourself, prioritize what is important to you, and plan to achieve those things. What is important to me is my clients. So I start my sessions, my coaching sessions at 8 a.m. and I start my work, which is my day job, at Mandray Logistics Fund and Palmon Group by 9:30, and I go up to 4:30. After 4:30, I'm only with my children because I want to be connected to them. I want to spend time with them. I want to be the mother they want me to be, and I want to enjoy the journey of parenthood. So from 4:30 to 8:30, I'm only with them. So the 4 hours of undivided attention is what I plan to give them every single day. And after that, of course, if I have any social commitments or I need to look back at some work or the relationship with my husband, that's what I build. So it's a very planned and routine day, but at least for the 5 weekdays, I feel very fulfilled.
Mhm. And does being on top of each of these elements, being coach, the best mom, the best colleague, does that put lot of stress on you? How do you manage these emotions of managing multiple things and being on top of it and still love the person that you are?
So if you enjoy the journey, then it's not a pressure, right? Because you're enjoying the journey, you're enjoying every step of the journey. So it's not a pressure. You don't get burnt out. I hear so many people talking about burnout, like, oh, I'm so burnt out. But if you love what you do and you're in love with your life, then you never burn out because you're so excited. You're intrinsically motivated to perform your best every single day. So that's the difference between enjoying your life, being connected to yourself, also loving what you do.
Loving what to do. I think that's the core of out of everything that we're trying to talk here. And
So
one
love
other
yourself,
element,
and so
love
my,
what
my
you do.
saying is love yourself, love what you do, and do what you love.
Hmm. That's a mantra of success,
Yes,
or personal happiness more than success. Success is just an end
absolutely.
point.
Yeah. And success is a byproduct, right? And it's a state of mind. Success is not tangible. It is a state of mind, it's a state of being. So, success is when you're happy, loving yourself for who you are, doing what you love. You will feel successful.
Yeah. And you did mention a very critical element in this whole process, the importance of support system and network, and how critical it is for somebody to kind of build this if somebody has not kind of put a lot of effort and work into this particular area. How can one go about building their support system? How can one go about building their network so that it supports them when they really need, and vice versa?
So, as the famous saying goes, you are the 5% of who you hang out with. So, it's extremely important to be able to understand that. You must surround yourself with people who will lift you up, motivate you, and help you become a better version of yourself. And there are lots of ways you can do that. You can join a book club for starters, that's something very, very simple. You can join groups like EO, YPO if you are an entrepreneur. You can also join business groups like BNI, and there are lots more in all over the world, I believe. So you can definitely be part of one of those groups that suits you and your purpose and your path, and be surrounded with that energy and mindset to be able to grow further.
What's on Meher's bucket list? If there are three things that you would want to accomplish in the next 12 months, what would those three things be, Meher?
So launch my second book for sure. I want my fund, which is the Mandarin Logistics Fund, to be $100 million by December 2022. So those are the two. And the third is, I believe, take my kids for a holiday they wish with just the four of us.
Wonderful. Meher, you have been sharing some wonderful insights with me and the listeners about the importance of loving self and how one can work towards that for being the better version of themselves. Like I said at the beginning, this show is all about creating ripples of inspiration. As we wrap up, what would be your inspire someone today message for all the listeners out there?
First, focus on yourself. Love yourself for who you are and see the magic.
See the magic, love thyself. That's what Shakespeare said. And we have here Meher Mirchandani sharing some wonderful snippets about how you can be the better version of yourself. Meher, thank you so much for taking time and sharing your insights and thoughts with me and my listeners.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Srikanth. I really appreciate your invitation, and I hope I have created some kind of a transformation in your listeners. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Come Alive podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Please share it with whoever needs to hear it. If you're watching the visual podcast on YouTube, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, as well as leave us a comment. I look forward to us meeting again on my next episode. Thank you and lots of love.